A state of calamity flooding up and down the west coast of Luzon, all thanks to the southwest monsoon that enhanced Habagat on par with what we've seen in 2009 with Typhoon Katsana. Also, Typhoon Hakui back in 2012. Very similar setup here. It's that southwesterly flow that has been adding up that moisture. And this not only over the course of a few hours, it started back several days when we had our storm system, Carina, off of the east coast of the Philippines, started to pull towards north. And all the while that was happening, you had that inflow. Of course, tropical systems, they need that inflow to help intensify them. When you tap into that inflow, tap into the southwest monsoon, even on top of that, we also had Typhoon Butchoy, also known as Praparun internationally towards north and west, and that 1-2 combination really helped enhance that river of moisture, setting up our significant flooding here. And once again, here's a look at that forecast track from our typhoon. It stayed well towards the east of the Philippines this entire time, but lifted off towards the north. And you just see here along the west coast of the Philippines, you had that inflow. On top of all of that, you also had orographic lifting, especially for places like Region 1 extending along the west coast of Luzon. That is when you have that moisture hit the mountains, it forces it to rise, and all of that rains out. Now, even down towards the NCR, maybe Manila's a little bit closer to the low-lying areas, but just outside of it, you had a bit of that orographic lifting too, which also rained out and flowed into places like the Marikina River that topped its banks, causing significant flooding into the metro area. So lots of rain, well over 500 millimeters in many locations in total throughout this event. But over the course of just 10 hours, we actually had some spots in Manila nearing 100 millimeters. Thus, you had all these images of this significant flooding here, not to mention even at the airport, flights being stopped because the tarmac was flooded there. So international impacts, local impacts, all sorts of events to go ongoing here. This is another thing I do want to note, though. We didn't have any signal force warnings in place with this storm system. Well, I shouldn't say that. We didn't have any where you had some of these heaviest of the rainfall. We did have red level rainfall warnings, which once again goes back to, I mentioned over the course of the past 2 weeks when we first saw this setup starting, is that you're not going to get those signal force warnings in some of the hardest impacts areas. You always want to pay attention to those local warnings as well. And hopefully people did, and stay advised ahead of the storm system. When's it all going to end? Well, as of recording this, as we go ahead into our Thursday morning across the Philippines, we're going to continue to watch our storm move off there towards southeastern China. And finally, on Friday and Saturday, we'll begin to see the wind shift from the south towards the north, causing that river of moisture, that conveyor belt, to begin to taper off. We're watching for a secondary low to develop off towards the east, which could once again start to enhance that monsoonal flow. We're going to keep an eye on that. For now, though, just remember those main tropical hazards with the heavy rain, strong winds, of course, but also that threat of flooding in these type of situations. I'll always do my best to keep you posted here, though, at westernpacificweather.com. I know that there's been a lot of great on-the-ground reporting. That's why I haven't been putting out as many updates. I always try to give you guys that heads up and let the local media handle it. But if you want to see more reporting or anything specific you would like to see, please let me know in the comment section down below. And also a big shout out to our Patreon members who continue to support this channel. As always, thanks for watching and stay safe out there.